All right, Mr. Mayor, you can start.
Okay, great. Before we call the meeting to order, I have a couple of fine points we have to mention before we start the meeting. So on August 21st, 2020, Governor J.B. Pritzker again declared pursuant of Section 7 of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency Act 20 ILCS 3305/7 that a disaster exists in Illinois as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. As such, per SB 2135 recently passed by the General Assembly, I, as Mayor of Lamont, in accordance with the aforementioned declaration of emergency by the governor, finds that it is not practical or prudent to have an in-person meeting tonight. Additionally, for the record, this meeting is being conducted via the Zoom virtual platform. Notice of the same was given to the public, and several of us, in this case, George, Charlene, Ken, myself, are present at Village Hall, as is required by the newly amended act. With that being said, I'd like to call the October 26th Village Board meeting to order. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with the consent agenda, which consists.
Need a roll call.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do roll call first. Thanks, Charlene. Go ahead.
Okay, this evening we'll be starting with trustee Kwasniewski.
Here.
Maher,
Here.
McClafferty,
Here.
Snagowski,
Here.
Stapleton,
Here.
Kittredge.
Here.
All right, great. Thanks, Charlene. Thanks for the reminder. We would have zoomed right through that.
Here.
All right, first off, the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of minutes for the September 28th board meeting, October 13th special board meeting, and the October 19th COW meeting. We also have approval of disbursements. We have an ordinance O-66-20, amending the budget for the fiscal year 2020-21 for the Village of Lamont. We have an ordinance O-67-20 for the Village of Lamont, Cook, Will, and DuPage counties in Illinois, establishing Village of Lamont Special Service Area Number 2. We have an ordinance O-68-20 of the Village of Lamont, Cook, Will, and DuPage counties in Illinois, imposing a village motor fuel tax within the Village of Lamont Special Service Area Number 2. George, that includes a sales tax as well, correct?
Correct. And after you're going through your list, I'll make a motion, or I'll recommend a motion to adjust one item.
Okay, great. We have a resolution R-48-20 authorizing award of a contract for the 2020 sanitary sewer lining project. We have a resolution R-49-20 accepting technical assistance from the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. And we have a resolution R-50-20 authorizing and supporting the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Grant for the Lamont Connection. Need a motion, please.
You know, before you,
Kittredge. Oh, sorry, Snagowski.
Yeah.
you know what, before you do, I just had one item of clarification. Item 3E on the consent, there was an error in the text of the ordinance. That is establishing the motor fuel tax special service area for the new fuel station down across from Target Coal. The title doesn't need to change, but one important note, it is the establishment of a tax on the sales of fuel. So it'll be 1% on the sales of fuel. I believe the ordinance reads 1% per gallon. It's the sales of fuel, and that's important. It'll allow us to recoup our investment quicker for the water main. So that's just an error in the ordinance. So
I'll make a motion to make the adjustment.
Okay, anyone second Ken's motion?
Second, Maher.
Okay, great. So trustee McClafferty, trustee Maher to amend the consent agenda Now we just need a motion to discuss the entire consent agenda, including that amendment. Can I have a motion, please?
Excuse me, we need a motion to
Amend it.
amend it.
Yeah, that's what
Oh, wait,
need a roll
That's
call
what Ken
yes,
did.
I understand, but we need,
Ken and Dave made a,
I understand that, and I have that down, but then we have to vote on that before we can vote on the whole.
Oh, okay.
So roll call on the amended.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
okay, we need a roll call for the amendment, taking it from 1 cent to the correct 1%.
1% of sales.
So
okay.
need a roll call for that, please.
okay. Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snegowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
and Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved for the
Now we can, yeah.
amendment. Now, we need a motion for the entire consent agenda. Can I have one, please?
So moved, Snagowski.
Okay, motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Snikowski to approve the consent agenda. Do we have any questions or comments on the consent agenda by the trustees? Okay, roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snegowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Next up, mayor's mention. Region 10, as of today, which is suburban Cook County, which includes Lamont, will have additional mitigation measures put into place starting Wednesday, October 28th. Region 10 is the first region to have increased mitigations due to consecutive days of increased positivity rate and increased hospital admissions. Additional mitigations include no indoor seating at bars and restaurants and limits in-person gatherings to no more than 25 people. We ask you to help slow the spread of COVID by wearing a mask, washing your hands, and watching your distance. Our village attorney, Mike Stillman, will provide more information on this in just a minute. In addition, we have some events taking place through the end of the month during the Lamonster Days 2020. The village is holding a virtual costume contest. Categories are individual, family, and pet costumes. To participate, submit an online entry form with the photo by midnight tomorrow, October 27th. In addition, the Park District is hosting a Halloween house decorating contest, so be sure to visit their Facebook page for the list of addresses of decorated homes to visit. Also, the library and police department are having contactless trick-or-treating on Halloween as well. Please visit our website, lamonsterdays.com, for more information. Lastly, Trick or Treat will be held in Lamont on Saturday, October 31st from 3 to 7 p.m. If you are welcoming trick-or-treaters to your home, please keep your porch light on. The Illinois Department of Public Health has put out Halloween guidance to allow for safe Halloween celebrations. This includes social distancing, wearing a mask, and proper hand washing, and adhering to event size limitation. We've included this information on our social media pages and website, and you can also visit IDPH website at dph.illinois.gov. We ask all of you for your cooperation in making this a safe experience for those that wish to participate, as well as those who do not. So again, we are going through with trick or treating. Again, this is outdoors. Please practice the social distancing. And if you are participating in it from a resident home standpoint, please keep your light on for the trick or treaters. With that being said, Mike Stillman, do you have anything to add regarding the governor's new announcement today regarding Region 10 suburban Cook County?
Thank you, Mayor. I think you did hit on the point that Region 10, which includes suburban Cook County, is the first region to go into mitigation, not for the 8% for 3 days, meaning 8% positivity for 3 straight days, which at present we have Northwest Illinois, DuPage, Kane, Also the Metro East area for down in St. Louis, and Will County and Kankakee County are in mitigation because they were at 8% over 3 days. We are close. We're at 7.8. Actually, I think went down to 7.7 today. But our region is going to face the mitigations that those areas had because of the fact the following, that we've had an increase of 7 of the last 10 days in our tests having a positivity rating, a positivity. And we also, our hospital have been 7 of the last 10 days have also hospitalizations have increased. So we are the first ones that have the twofer, so to speak. And because of that, we're going to have the same mitigation that they have had. You went over no indoor service at bars. Outdoor service is allowed at bars, but they have to be done by 11. There are other factors such as reservations must be required at restaurants now, but they cannot have indoor dining service. Outdoor dining is allowed up to 11 o'clock. Reservations must be required for all parties. So there's no standing until you can be served. You have to have, the restaurants will have to have some type of service where they can have reservations. The big thing that we've heard, and I'm sure you're asking, is how do we get out of this first phase of mitigation? And the way that we will get out of it, frankly, is the following. We have to have our positivity ratings now, positivity tests. They have to be at 6.5 or less for 3 days. And we also need to ensure that hospitalizations are not increasing. And also that we do not go under 20% in available beds in our hospital or ICU, which at this time, luckily on that area, we are not. However, we've seen an increase in admission, which we have to, as I said, decrease. You have to have a decrease at least for 3 days. So the big question is this is a state mandate? This is not a village mandate. The enforcement, as has always been the case, Mr. Mayor, is with the Cook County Board, Cook County Health Department, and also the IDPH, Illinois Department of Public Health. So this is not something that they expect, they being the state, expect our police or our health departments to go and enforce. This is something that if there are complaints, they have to go through the Cook County Public Health and also the state. It is, I don't think I added that gaming, and there's an issue of whether we have to get clarification whether the gaming, whether machines are allowed within a indoor area. Mr. Berry made a good point, and I'm reading the guidance again. I have to get a little further guidance, and we'll be able to give that to your business holder, your businesses, as to whether gaming is allowed. At this time, it says gaming is to close at 11 p.m. So, Mr. Berry, I think that gaming is allowed, as reading it again. That's where we're at. It will likely be for 2 weeks. That's usually what the case is. That these are in place for a minimum of 2 weeks. That's where how it's been at the other the areas that have been in there. That's Metro East was in there before, and Will County was in this mitigation. It's been called the penalty box. Unfortunately, Will County and Kankakee were in the penalty box, and Metro East were in the penalty box before they got out of it, and they're back in it. So I have any, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I think Trustee Stigowski has his hand up.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, Mike, I've got a question. Going back to the restaurants. I just want to be clear on that. The restaurants cannot serve any food indoor, even if it's less than a 25% of the area or 25 people and 6 foot spacing?
That is correct. No indoor service. And the only caveat to that would be if the restaurants have windows that open or garage doors or something like that. Similar to that would make it a pseudo hybrid, so to speak. But as of now, no indoor service if they're a purely indoor restaurant. As of Wednesday at 12:01 a.m., by the way, I don't think we added that. It'll be these go into effect October 28th at 12:01. So the soonest that likely we can get out of it would be November 11th.
Well, that's even harsher than it was when they had just closed down the bars that didn't serve food because they were allowing 25 people or the 6-foot spacing inside of restaurants. Whatever that was, stage 3.5 or 4, 4 1/4, whatever you want to call it. This is new to be completely closed off along with the bars.
These are the regulations. So this is
Yep. Okay.
And also, you cannot have multiple parties at one table. I don't think I added that. So that's something new. And I believe it was mentioned by the mayor. It used to be groups of 50 or guests of 50 or groups of 50 or more. Now they're down to 25. So a party, hypothetically, if someone was going to have a party, the most they could have is 25% or 25 people.
Thanks, Mike. And obviously, this is very disappointing. Our local businesses are struggling to begin with. We'll continue to fire back up our weekly meetings, I believe. Jason, is that correct? To give support and guidance to our businesses? I don't know if Jason's, if he's on mute, but we've received several calls today regarding these new rules, and we'll continue to work with our businesses. And again, it's very unfortunate. As Mike mentioned, this is not a village monitored or it's not something that we govern. We have to take the rules straight from the governor. As far as the rules, regarding indoor eating, obviously there's no indoor eating according to the governor. Outdoor eating only, albeit at more restrictions. So again, disappointing, but we have to hopefully get our rate down. I believe at least 6.5% for 3 days, and the hospital admissions have to decrease as well. So as Mike mentioned, it sounds like we're in this for at least 2 weeks minimum. So again, very disappointing, but again, try and support as we always encourage all of our businesses, either it be through outdoor dining or to go. Obviously, the weather's getting cooler. It's going to be very cold the next 7 to 10 days. So please, again, remember our local businesses and support them as best as possible. With that being said, let's move on to the clerk's report. Charlene, please.
Thank you. The first ordinance we have this evening, if passed, would be O-69-20. And this is granting a special use for a banquet hall use and outdoor dining area in downtown district at 44 Stevens Street in Lamont.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved, McClafferty.
Second.
Snagowski.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Snagowski. Mark, are you taking the lead on this?
Yes, sir. Thank you. The applicant, the Bridge LLC, represented by Jerry Kulhanek, is requesting the special use for the property at 44 Stevens Street to allow the banquet hall use with outdoor drinking and ceremony area in the downtown district. This request, a public hearing was held at the October 7th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, where the Planning and Zoning Committee made a unanimous recommendation to approve the request. In addition, this request was discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting last week. The ordinance as attached, I do want to note, does contain that provision as discussed last week regarding the shuttle service for an event with 200 plus persons in attendance. Staff is making a recommendation to approve.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Do we have any questions or comments from the trustees? A roll call, please, Shirley.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
yes,
Okay, motion approved.
The next item, if passed this evening, would be O-70-20, and this is adding Chapter 5.09 raffles to the Lamont Village Code.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved. McClafferty.
Second, Kwasniewski.
Okay, motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Kwasniewski. George, you want to take this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll turn over to Mike. State law authorizes local governments to regulate local raffles, and these are raffles where typically a not-for-profit, a church, a school district conducts a raffle, maybe in conjunction with a local establishment. We do have the authority to regulate them. We brought this up a couple years ago, and I think the initial discussion was that we didn't want to add more red tape to the process, but this is one thing. We had an issue on Friday where one of the raffles was actually checked on by the state, and in order for these raffles to technically be legal, we do have to regulate them. So not a big deal. Mike Stillman from Oldelson's office was able to cook something up pretty quick. But Mike, you want to go through on just an overview of the ordinance, and then we'll entertain any questions.
Absolutely. As you said, George, this is something that is common, in fact, necessary in villages and cities as the Queen of Hearts has become very, very common and popular. It is in state law under the Raffles Act that in order for them to proceed, you need to have the local municipality authorize that. So understanding that the red tape concern, however, in order for them to go forward, they need to have this, and that's why we put this forward. The language is fairly standard. It's ones that I've drafted in other municipalities, so I've incorporated that, and we've had no problems. A couple of things that rather than going over all that, I want to point out. Under the act, you have to have a maximum amount that the raffle can award. Now, hopefully, the raffle is so big that it's over the under 5.09060. It goes over $600,000. That happened in Chicago for a Catholic church, St. Cajetan. It happened in Morris, and it happened in McHenry. So what happens then? Well, as it gets closer, the village just extends the amount over 600,000, which I think is a rather generous amount. But if we get into the $1 million range, we'll be coming to you asking you to amend that, and it could. But so the maximum that it can be is $600,000. A non-cash prize would be $50,000. Hopefully, if there's some type of car raffle, $50,000 is a pretty good amount, a pretty nice car. And one of the points that the mayor and your staff made, not wanting to charge businesses to do this, the request was that we put in there under the fee would be if any, if you see 5.09110. Some villages, most municipalities do request a fee nominal. It was my charge not to do that. So what I did is I put the language if any. So it's my understanding that, and we're not changing the license schedule. So there will be no charge for a not-for-profit to get this raffle license. We also put in here that if, say, someone has a a VFW or something has another license that they're allowed to have in Homer Glen or somewhere within 10 miles, just an example is Homer Glen. We did the reciprocity portion so they don't have to come to Lamont and do that as well. So tried to make it as friendly as possible. I think that I've talked to the state. This will be satisfactory, so we don't have to come back to you. There is a necessity because you have an establishment that has a Queen of Hearts already. We need to approve this tonight. That would be ideal in order for it to be in compliance with state law. So I'm ready to answer any questions if you have any.
Hey, Mike, just as a point of clarification, the spirit of having these raffles is to do this for nonprofit organizations, either it be church organizations, school sports foundations, whatever it may be. Do you want to just comment? I mean, the point of this is it's not allowing, our establishments to set up gambling raffles
Yes.
now. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about the nonprofit organization?
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't hit on that. You're absolutely correct. Any of these raffles have to be for a not-for-profit, and you'll see in our definitions that the not-for-profit organizations can include a church. It can be a business organization, such as that would be a voluntary organization that is a not-for-profit. It can be a charitable organization. It can be an educational organization. Again, all for not-for-profit, a fraternal organization, a labor organization. These are, and a not-for-profit organization. All of them coincide, and religious and veterans. To be clear, Mr. Mayor, you're right. An establishment can't have one of these Queen of Hearts raffle and say that they are the ones that are going to be receiving the 50%, the other 50-50. This has to be for a organization that falls under what we've defined under your Raffles Act and under your Raffles ordinance. And also this is coming largely from the State Raffle Act, which I've designated in the ordinance.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions or comments for Mike?
Is there any reason it has to be capped off at a certain dollar amount? Like why 600? Why not $1 million or 10 million?
Well, that's a good point. 600,000 is kind of. I've had other villages that had 100 or 50, and they wanted to make sure that they had control over it. I've seen 600 kind of to be a middle ground. You can certainly amend it if you want to make it $1 million, but it was more of kind of I did it fairly quickly, trustee. So that's the amount that I've done in other places. So that's what I put in. But if you wanted to change 5.09060A to a different amount, we could just amend it on its face. So we wouldn't have to come back to you. We could make it $1 million. So there's no science to it. That was just kind of what I put in.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
yes,
Okay, thanks, Charlene. Motion approved. Thanks, Charlene. Okay, next up, Mike, do you have anything else on your village attorney report?
I think I've talked too much tonight. No, thank you, Mayor.
Bears game.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, next up, George, you have anything?
Thank you. I'll be brief, and I'll probably donate some time to Jason Berry. He's back online, but just want to remind everybody of our updating meeting schedule. We're getting to the end of 2020. Thank goodness, right? A couple more board meetings on November 9th. We're going to take off the week of Thanksgiving and then have our final board meeting of the year on December 14th. Keep an eye on the calendar, though. I think we're going to get, and Jason can chime in here in a little bit. We're going to get the businesses back involved. Early on during the pandemic, we got the businesses involved on a weekly Zoom series to talk about some of the mitigation efforts and how to get through them. Just education, but keep an eye out. That'll be on the calendar here soon. But Jason, you want to just give an update on some of the calls you're receiving and how you're working with the business community if you're back?
I am, yeah. Sorry, Mayor. I heard Jason in one ear. In the other ear, I was actually talking to a business owner, a retailer in Lamont, asking if they could stay open come Wednesday. And yes, they can. So yeah, we want to just make sure that we're here for the business owners in Lamont. We know there's lots of questions, and of course, this happens fast. The mitigations were announced today, Monday, and they go into effect on Wednesday. Spent most of the days talking to restaurant and tavern owners. The main concern is what enforcement is potential could be coming from the state, either for especially liquor license holders or anybody that has a gaming license. So we'll be investigating some of those and putting together a call with the business owners as soon as we have an answer for some of the early questions that are coming in. But we encourage anybody to continue to reach out to the village, and to me particularly if you have any questions about business operations beginning on Wednesday. And we wish everybody the best of luck. And as we saw at a recent meeting, sales tax and such in Lamont has been strong over the summer, and we have to give the credit to our residents who have taken to the message of shop local and support our small business. We've been doing well, much better than expected, and that's all because of the great residents here have stepped up and kept these businesses going. So thank you.
Thanks, Jason, and thank you for your efforts. And again, just to repeat, all bars and restaurants, indoor seating is now banned. Outdoor is available, correct? But indoor shopping and retail is open, correct?
Yeah, shopping's still available, salons as well. If, heaven forbid, we would fall into tier 2 mitigations, that's when they are impacted. But shopping, recreation, outdoor recreation, retail is not included in tier 1 mitigation.
Awesome.
Well, can I just add one thing, Mayor and Jason? Yep. I've had questions. Will gyms be open, and will I be able to exercise? Absolutely. There's no restriction in this phase, and also other sports as well, other than the IHSA, that is not affected, nor do any of these rules affect schools.
Yeah, good point, Mike. Thanks. So gyms open, schools remain open.
So now, Mayor, largely it's the hospitality industry that's impacted, with restaurants, taverns, and gatherings such as, banquets or events. The mitigation efforts are focused on those industries, unfortunately.
Got it. All right. Okay, all done, George?
That's all I had for you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Go Bears.
Yes, go Bears. Any staff reports, Chief or Ralph?
Oh, you're muted, Chief.
Chief, go ahead, buddy.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, I got a couple things. I'll be real brief. This year, because of the uptick in deer crashes, the IDOT and IDNR are teaming up for a public awareness campaign. It's called Don't Veer for Deer. Because of the large herds up in the northern area, there's been a lot of crashes. So they're reminding folks to watch out for deer. But the real message they're asking drivers to do is to not try to avoid a deer crash, because the crashes are a lot worse when they try to swerve, and they know it's instinctual, but if they swerve, they can go into oncoming traffic or go down a ravine and usually make it a much more severe crash than just hitting the deer. So that's the message this year. As instinctual as it is to to try to avoid it. They're asking people not to.
Got it. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, the second thing I have is October is also Illinois Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Our center that services our area is the South Suburbia Crisis Center. They've asked us to send along messages that they're there. And if you go up on our website, we'll have their brochure up there. But in addition to their traditional domestic violence victim services, they run shelters, they do interim housing, transitional housing, court advocacy, some aftercare services. And they are funded partially on federal grant, but mostly through donations. So if you're interested in contributing, the information's on our website, but you can find all about the how to access the services of the Crisis Center there as well. That's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Okay, any other board reports or finish or new business? Unfinished or new business? Okay. Next up, we have audience participation. George, you want to monitor that?
Yeah, this is a part of the meeting where if you wanted to speak, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you and you'll get 3 minutes. I did not receive anything before the meeting, so I'll leave it open here for another second or so. And I don't see anybody raising their hand, Mr. Mayor, so.
I think everyone's getting ready for kickoff.
There you go.
All right.
All right. With that being said, we do have a executive session. There will not be any decisions made after executive session, so we will not be going back into public session. So with that being said, I need a motion to exit the public meeting. Have a motion, please?
So moved, Maher.
Okay. Motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Maher. Roll call, please, Shirley.
Okay, Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snegowski,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. And we need one more motion. We need a motion to go into executive session. Mike, I believe it's under 2C11. Is that correct?
It is. Yes, it is.
For litigation?
Correct.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So move Stapleton.
Second, Snegowski.
Got trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Snegowski. Roll call, please, to go into executive session.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snegowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Like to thank everyone for joining us. Wish everyone a great week. Happy Halloween. Hang in there. Be safe. Good night.